Some of the challenges that you face as an African American working in these predominantly white spaces, that sometimes you're working with people that may not necessarily have even been around African Americans, right? And what they know about African Americans is what they've seen on TV. And a lot of those images that you see on TV and the mainstream media, they just aren't pleasant images. And so if you have somebody but those images are influential, right? And so if you have somebody with those particular images in their head, or just what they've seen or what they heard, not necessarily what they experienced, that's where a lot of these biases come from, right? You can have various biases that African Americans aren't as smart, or not as technical as other people, or they're not able to lead, or not all the way as honest, or they're looking for the easy way out all the time, or just, those could be certain things. So sometimes you have to battle some of those biases, right? Also, sometimes you can be literally dealing with somebody that can be racist, right? I think that's a hard truth that we have to accept, and we never want to act like that's a possibility, but
no one ever wants to admit that, right? Like,
yeah, nobody ever wants to admit it, but we've seen it, right? We look at and we see it now with the development of social media now, and the development of technology and iPhones now, and just how we have access to information now. So you have some of these instances where you see people acting less than ideal and acting in racist manners, and you looked up and you see that they're professors at colleges, they're managers in your institutions, they're owners of companies. And you say, wait a minute, if this person acts like this outside of the job, how are they going to work inside of the workplace where they have even more control and they have, a particular say-so with someone's fate? So you can be working with situations like that. And you may not never know, because it's not like somebody's walking up to you and calling you the N-word in front of your face. Like those days are over with. Yeah. But you can just look at the numbers, right? When you look at the numbers, you see a lack of representation, not only within the employee base, but also within leadership, right? And definitely within management. See that lack of representation. And that lack of representation will give you the perception that there's a glass ceiling, right? And when you think that there's a glass ceiling, that's going to sort of affect your incentive. It's going to affect your belief that you have, that, it's going to affect your willingness to work hard and achieve what you want to achieve. Not saying that it has to, but for some people, for the average person, if they say, hey, why am I going to come and give my all to this company when no matter what I do, I'm probably not going to, break through the ranks, right? And be able to get promoted, because, of my skin color or whatnot, or because of my race, or because of some level of bias that exists within the company. And you say, well, it's not possible, or that's not necessarily the case. But when you look around and you don't see any Black leaders, you don't see any Black managers, you don't see any Black CEOs, you say, well, maybe that is the case.